Hey, hey, holy mackerel, no doubt about it, the Cubs are on. Are they on their way? Really now? We're going to talk about the Cubs today. 2014 team, where they're going. How do you like my hat? How about the suit here? The reason I'm wearing the suit with the hat is because Cubs have gone totally corporate. They're the corporate Cubs. They got the smartest guys in the business working for them. The Ricketts, Theo Epstein, Jed Hoyer, all the rest of them. They're the intellects of baseball. They've been with the Cubs for what, 4 or 5 years? They're going on their fifth year now. You know what the C stands for in Cubs? I'm from Chicago, so I don't mean to make fun of them. Okay, I am a St. Louis Cardinal fan. You guys know that because I was born on the Mississippi River. But I grew up in Chicago. C stands for average. Okay, the grades that I got in sixth grade, basically. Okay, and actually over the past 4 or 5 years, I should change it to D, the Dubs, or something. Okay, so we're going to look at the Cubs here. What has happened in 4 years here? Now, we know that Jim Hendry used to be the general manager of the Cubs. And I believe he was the general manager for a good 8 to 10 years. Did a good job. He actually built them up from a losing team to a winning team. I believe they made the playoffs a couple of times. And then he had a couple of down years and they got rid of him. And during the Jim Hendry era, the Cubs were, more respectable than they usually are. And Jim Hendry is a very intellectual guy. But they got rid of him for some more intellectual people coming from the Boston Red Sox, namely Theo Epstein and his sidekick Jed Hoyer. So what has happened ever since they've gotten here? I believe they had a 3-year plan to really turn it around. It's been 4 years now. They've gone through 3 coaches. They've been pretty much in last place every year as far as I know. Offensively, and this is Moneyball Hitter Magazine, right? I'm a lead columnist, Mike Huber, if you don't recognize who I am. They've been 26th, 27th in hitting the last 4 years under the jurisdiction of Theo Epstein, who is, by the way, a Moneyball guy. Uses sabermetrics, tries to find the right guys to fit the formula, good slugging, getting on base, all that sort of stuff. But yet they're 27th. They've gone through 3 hitting coaches. What's that tell you? We'll discuss that later. And they've just gotten the Cubs have just gotten worse under their regime. Okay, no smarter than Jim Hendry. You know, Jim Hendry, one of the most respected GMs in baseball. Yankees picked him up right away. Okay, so I don't know what was it Ricketts that got rid of him. I don't know who got rid of him. I don't know what they were thinking. Okay, but they got in Epstein and his regime is trying to really turn. They are trying. I got to tell you that they're putting all their efforts into it. So far, they've gotten worse. So has it been a waste of 4 years? Cubs fans, since they're the most patient fans in the world, uh, are going to give them the 4 years. Okay, you're making some moves. You know, we're getting worse to get better. Okay, so now this is the year, right? So now the pressure is really felt by Epstein and Hoyer and everything. So do Moneyball coaches believe in getting bad before you get good? No, we do not. Okay? As a hitting specialist, I go in and fix teams in a snap in that season. Okay? Whether they're average players or talented players, okay? Usually their swings are off They're out of sync. They're not doing the right drills. They don't hit batting practice correctly. We fix all of that because it's probably been ruined by somebody else who ruined them through some type of downward swing theory or linear mechanics or whatnot. Okay? Remember, Moneyball hitter does teach effective rotational hitting. Epstein, Mr. Epstein, I'm talking to you. You like rotational hitting, don't you? I see this year that you got a bunch of really young players that lay back on that back leg and are just ripping up, opening up their hips. You're going for the power. You're trying to fit these guys into your Moneyball formula. They haven't quite fit yet, but I know you're giving the effort. Okay, especially this year, I've really seen an effort here. Now your hitting coaches, I don't know. I mean, you've gotten rid of 3 of them, so they may know your Moneyball formula, but they can't train within the Moneyball formula. So if they can't train the hitters within the Moneyball formula, then what's the use, right? You might as well not have a hitting coach. Just find the players that put up the huge numbers, like Chris Bryant. We'll be talking about him. Okay, the guy that you guys drafted, and he hit 43 home runs, and he's going to be probably your starting third baseman. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Rarely do you see that. We'll be talking about him a little bit later. So now you guys have made some moves, building up the minor leagues, blah, blah, blah. The Ricketts family is building up the Cubs stadium and making different constructive things better for the stadium and the fans and everything. And now, poor Renteria, Ricky Renteria, the coach that you hired last year, who really was given just a bunch of young players and hardly a good pitching staff, and then you traded away some of your good pitchers, didn't have a chance, and you get rid of them in 1 year for Joe Maddon, because the pressure is on, so you're going to try to bring in a savior. Okay? Joe Maddon, very well-respected coach. All players like to play for him. But what's he going to do? Is he going to turn your 237 hitting team, 27th in the league for the last 3 years, into a 270 championship team all of a sudden? I don't think Mr. Maddon knows enough to do that from a training standpoint. Okay? Or the guys that he's bringing in. So, hoping maybe that Joe Maddon comes in and is going to attract all these free agents, and you're going to play like the New York Yankees and bring these free agents in, type of thing. I'd like to see it. Okay? You haven't been able to do it yet. Okay? Is this the year? I know you're feeling the heat. Joe Maddon is kind of an old school guy. He does believe in the sabermetrics and the Moneyball formula system. Slugging percentage, batting average, on base percentage, guys that walk a lot, power, scoring runs. He likes that. Can you find those guys? You're giving it your best shot. I know, you're building up your minor leagues. I know one of your focuses, Mr. Epstein, is that you're building up the minor leagues. Good job. You're number 1, as far as I see on the board, for producing some big-time players right now. Okay? And your teams are doing well in the minor leagues, too. So that sets you up for some trades, for some landing, maybe some big-time free agents, which is good. Okay? Now, these guys that play well in the minor leagues and they get up to the major leagues, does that work out? Usually not. Why? One of the reasons I think is because the hitting coaches get to them and try to big league them to death and scare them off, and then they just kind of phase out. Okay? So Can you build a championship with by building up the minor leagues? My answer to that is no, you can't. Okay? But is it a step that you need to take? Yes, and you've made the right step. So congratulations. Uh, my opinion, okay? Cubs fans want a winner right now. The heat is on. You've had 4 wasted years, basically. This has to be the year where you come in first or second place or something. Okay? Right now, as I see it with the players and the rosters that you have now, and I don't care if you bring Joe Madden in or whatever, I still see that you're 3 to 5 years out. Unless I see some big time free agents that you bring in. Okay? Why? Because these players are too young. From what I see with their swings, they have ineffective rotational swings. They're all hit and miss. They all have a lot of power. Nobody's given up their swing, which is what I like. But they're a bunch of wild horses, and they need to be tamed, basically. Okay? They're young. They're inexperienced. They really don't know how to win in the major leagues. Okay? I know, Mr. Epstein, you're going after the Moneyball formula by bringing some of these players in. We'll discuss some of the players later. Okay? The problem is, when you go in the Moneyball formula and you try to get players to fit into that, are your coaches on board with that? Mainly your hitting coaches? So if you teach a Moneyball formula where you want these guys to slug, get on base, and you're teaching maybe linear hitting or hands to the ball, or you're trying to shorten their swings and stuff like that, and you're going against the Moneyball, you're trying to bring up these minor leaguers, is it going to work? No. Is that what's been going on? It had to be. You fired the last 3 hitting coaches, for crying out loud. So you haven't been able to find a Moneyball hitting coach that stakes your claim in the Moneyball formula. So there's a conflict of interest. Okay. It seems like you're building the talent so high, though, that you might be able to overcome this. Okay? Let's see what else do we have on the board here. It looks like, I think that you have enough players, like I said, developed in the minor leagues, possibly play in the major leagues, but not effectively. Okay? 250, 240, 230 hitters is what you're bringing in, basically. Okay? There's some players that you brought up, either from free agent or minors. We got Coughlin, Rigiano, Bonifacio, 280 hitters. They hit 5 homes, seven homers a year, which means they're not slugging. They don't fit within the Moneyball formula. Although 280 is pretty decent for those guys. Okay, those guys can be taught how to add some power. Doesn't look like that's going to happen though. So those 3 guys, you're just going to have to wipe off your list. It's not much that they're going to do. Okay. You have Castro, who used to be an ineffective rotational hitter. This year was his best year. Usually he's just hit and miss. He hit 292 this year. 15 home runs. He's way better than 15 home runs, by the way. Okay. Still, he has problems with breaking balls. That could be taught. How to sit back on a breaking ball and lift the breaking ball pitch. Okay? But he's getting better at it. He's one of, I'm going to call him, let's call him a star hitter. 292, 15. Not a star hitter in my book, but, for major leagues nowadays, we'll call him a star hitter. Rizzo, there's a guy that you brought up from the minor leagues. You drafted him. Okay? He's slowly but surely gotten better. Okay? This is one of the few guys in the organization who has. I don't know if anybody's working with the swing or if he's done it himself or he's got his own hitting coach or something. 286, he had 32 home runs. Yeah, that's the type of guys that you want. only got one guy in your lineup that can really do that right now. And he's going to stay there. He's legit. He's legit. I think Castro's going to be legit too. Okay? Unless he loses his head a little bit. Anybody else, I really don't see. I see a lot of talent. Junior Lake, your outfielder, holy cow, is that guy talented. He hit 211 last year, and he had, what, 9 home runs? 10 home runs? That guy's legitimate. I mean, if he's trained the correct way, he's harnessed, and keeps his power, guy's a 270 hitter, 25 homers. Now you got another Rizzo type of guy. Okay? But what are you going to do with Junior Lake? Going to give up on him? I don't know. After a year like that. This is like his second year, right? And then you got this Baez guys that you're bringing up. Everybody's talking about Baez. Baez hit like a buck 60 with the Cubs. An ineffective rotational hitter. Okay? He's got some holes in his stance and the way that he loads and stuff like that. We'll go over it a little bit later. But he's just way out of control in the swing. But you know what? He hits so many extra base hits and home runs. It's at least better than a contact hitter that hits 270 with 5 home runs. So I'll take a guy who hits a buck 60 and every 1 out of 5 hits is an extra base hit with him. But still, it's not good enough to be in a championship team. I don't want Baez on my championship team if he's hitting a buck 60, 200. No way, he's not getting on base. He's helping you every third game. Big deal. Okay? If he is, I mean, if his doubles with guys on base. Okay? So, we've got some problems here with the Cubs. And we've got some good things happening at the same time. So there's work that has been done. There is no results. The time is now. You're bringing in Maddon, more coaches, more hitting coaches, more changeover. I mean, every year it's like, just if you're a football team, you had a new offensive coordinator every year. This is what's happening. Okay? So there's no stability or anything like that. Nobody really knows what's going on as far as the training is concerned. And, you know, it's just kind of bumbling through the major leagues right now as just one of the worst teams. So I don't know how you're going to be able to turn it around. Okay? I don't think Maddon's going to be able to turn it around. You got to hit at least 270 to hit at a championship level. What are you going to increase? 30 points? Do you have any hitting coaches that look at the numbers like I do? Okay, this is what I do when I go in to a college, high school team, or any team that wants to hire me. What have you hit in the last 3 years? Oh, you hit 237. Boy, that's just like the Cubs. Okay, in order to hit at championship level, you're going to have to raise your batting average by 30 or 40 points within the first year. You're going to have to do that. Is there any hitting coaches that come up to you, Mr. Hoyer, Mr. Epstein, and say, "Oh, here's the numbers. We're at 237. We got to get to that 270 mark. This is what we're going to do it. This is exactly how we're going to do it. And we've done it here before. Here's all our testimonials, and this is our proven system that works." No, you don't have conversations. You don't have meetings like that. So basically, you're just hoping talented players kind of fit into the system. Maybe 1 out of every 10 does. So you keep just throwing your poker chips out there and just hoping that it happens. Then you bring in maybe a Joe Maddon and see if he can, you know, raise up a few of those types of players. But the way it's going to work for the Cubs, if you can bring in some 3 or 4 veterans who are proven winners, put up some decent numbers along with these young guys, then you got something. And you have this Chris Bryant character, third baseman, minor league player of the year, 43 home runs in the minor leagues. That's big time. Do you guys know anything about him? I wrote an article about him. He's been in effective rotational mechanics ever since he was young. His dad taught him. his own academy in Arizona, as a matter of fact. Okay, he's blowing it out of the water, and he's not making it a secret on how he swings, which no minor league coach wants people to swing like this. He's back foot, lean back, arch your back, okay? But he's stable, he's balanced when he does it. He can control himself. He hit over 300 in the minor leagues at the same time. This guy comes in with Rizzo and Castro, and then hopefully you can get maybe Junior Lake on, or this Soler, the outfielder. He's got it. Let me show you his swing. He's got it. He hit, 280 something? Only in 89 games with 5 home runs. Boy, oh boy. Hitting coaches for the Cubs don't ruin this guy. This guy is potentially big time. So if Soler goes big time, Rizzo stays where he is, Castro stays, you got this Chris Bryant. Those are 4 or 5 money ball hitters. And then you're going to have to bring in your pitching staff. That's up to you. You know, I'm not an expert at that. Then you got something there. So there is a chance. There's a chance for the Cubs. Okay? We just don't want the hitting coaches to mess it up. Which can happen. It happens all the time. Okay? We're going to see what happens. But realistically, maybe I'm being too hopeful here. But there is a chance. But I think they're 3 or 5 years out. Okay? Do I think they're going to come in last place this year? No, I don't. Actually. No, I don't. And if they do, this whole regime, the intellects of baseball, the Moneyball. See, Moneyball, folks, from the general managers and all the big corporate guys that know the sabermetrics and Moneyball, everybody knows it now. So Epstein, Mr. Epstein, you're not fooling anybody anymore. Everybody knows the formula. And they're just trying to plug players into the formula. But you can't plug players into the formula unless they know how to hit within the formula. You're just putting potential players into the formula. That's what you're doing, and hopefully they plug themselves in, like Rizzo did. That's like 1 out of maybe 25 guys that are going to be able to do that. So that's too many plugs, too many hopeful poker chips that you're putting in there. Did you know, Theo? Did you know, Jed, that there's Moneyball hitting specialists like myself out here? What do you think this magazine's all about? I find them and I have them write articles for me. And I know more of them spread out throughout the country and over the world that eventually will be writing articles for me and telling everybody about the Moneyball hitting system, on how we take numbers and we turn those numbers up to championship numbers by the correct type of training. We don't mess with hitters. We don't go in and say, oh, we're all professional, and we mess with the hitters and the hitting numbers go down, and then all of us hitting coaches go to the bar and just drink ourselves to death. Okay? We may go to the bar, but in celebration of, holy cow, look at the numbers that we just improved here. This is what we do. So, this is a message to the general managers and the corporate management teams of all the teams in the major leagues. You're going Moneyball. I know you know the formula. Find the trainers that could get the talented players and plug them into the Moneyball formula where they're successful right away once they step into the major leagues. That's your next step. But you're afraid to do it, aren't you? Because all the hitting coaches in the minor leagues are ex-players. And you're not smart enough, you corporate guys, to know that these ex-players know nothing about muscles, know nothing about how to teach, train, communicate, how to fix bad habits quickly. Okay. Like guys like Baez here, who's got 2 or 3 bad habits, nobody's ever even fixed them. I can go there in 5 minutes and fix them. So the problem exists. You know the Moneyball formulas, all you general managers, but you cannot get the trainers to train within that system. As a matter of fact, they're pulling you down while you're trying to pull up. And that's why hitting coaches lose their jobs almost every year. They last maybe about 2 years. In the major leagues, minor leagues, okay? If they don't lose their job, they're tossed somewhere else. No, this didn't work, we'll try another guy type of thing, and it's a juggling act. Isn't it, guys? Isn't it, general managers out there? Isn't that what's happening? That is what's happening, and you know it. And they're working against what you're trying to do. You want guys that hit for power, don't you? You want guys that hit at least 280, don't you? You want guys that know how to walk, don't you? That all could be taught and trained. But not by hitting instructors. It's got to be by specialists, because hitting is the most mystical, mysterious, toughest thing to figure out, and then to be able to communicate and teach and simplify. Okay? And guys aren't trained to do it. They're not. You got to be trained as a teacher. You got to be trained to know muscles. You got to be trained to know how to balance out a body. Certain types of drills. Okay? I mean, it's not happening. It's not happening. So, Chicago Cubs, we are going to go over some of your hitters in my next video. Outside chance I'm going to give you, just because we've got some new regime with Joe Maddon coming in, and you got some good young hitters. You're going to have to get some good veteran hitters to come in, and then the pitching staff, you know how to take care of that. All you need is four great ones, and build up the bullpen a little bit. But that's not my deal. From a hitting standpoint, you're at 237 and you've got a long way to go. How are you going to get up 30, 40 points in 1 to 2 years? I don't know. But it's possible. It's going to be all depending on the free agents and how much better some of these good hitters get. Okay. Mike Huber over and out. Go Cubs, go!